Hello again, this is Pearson Brown. Let me make it quite clear, I'm not a doctor. I'm a diabetic. I've been a diabetic for more than 25 years. I'm a type 2 diabetic and I'm talking from my own personal experience. There's no two ways of getting around this problem. Sugar is your enemy. If you're like me, you probably were quite addicted to sugar. But some way or another, you've got to get sugar out of your diet or at least reduce it as much as possible. Now, not everybody realises this, but it's not just a question of eating sugar. Almost everything that you eat will convert to sugar in your body eventually. What really matters is the speed with which it converts to sugar. If it converts really quickly, well then it'll all go straight into your blood sugar. Whereas if it converts very slowly, the body's able to deal with it much better. When I first became a diabetic, I tried desperately to follow recipes using fructose or honey or other items which apparently were better forms of sugar. They all convert into sugar in your body. They're all just sugar. Don't be fooled by these terms. White flour, white rice, other processed foods convert really quickly into sugar. It's important that you don't eat these forms. It's much better to have whole flour, brown rice. Try and get things in an unprocessed state as much as you possibly can. The general principle is make the food as unprocessed as possible. That makes the body work harder to convert it into sugar, and that will really help your diabetes. I've changed my mind about fat. I used to think that fat was very bad for me and it made me fat. But the longer I've gone on, the more I've realised that this is not the case. And the great thing about fat is it fills you up. It stops you from feeling hungry. Protein is a great thing to eat. The best proteins are not things, the red meats and so on. It's best to eat chicken, fish and beans. You often see very expensive food labelled diabetic food. My advice is not to bother with it. Firstly, because ordinary food is perfectly okay, just choose the right varieties of things. And secondly, because some of these diabetic foods are full of a substance which will send you running to the toilet. The important factor at the end of the day is that you are an individual, and the way your body responds to food is probably different from the way other people's bodies respond to food. For example, in my case, I've mentioned the value of whole flour, but in fact I have a general sort of intolerance to any sort of form of flour. So any flour will send my blood sugar sky high. It's up to you. Test yourself. Test yourself before you eat food and then test yourself after you've eaten the same food and see what happened. I'm a diabetic, I'm not a doctor. I don't know you. I think doctor knows you better than anybody else. Go see your doctor, talk to your doctor about changes.